And even then, also Rashi says it means, according to one pshat, it means children. But we just added Zecher Tzag L'Bracha. So I'll go upon him. So the Maral asks this kasha. The Maral says, where do you find that you say told this on someone who wasn't born yet? I'll read to you his solution. Let's look at the Heilig Maral. ואם תאמר, המאי מקדים לכתוב ואלה תולדס יצחק קודם שנולדו, דלא תמצא זה בשער דוכתי, you won't find it elsewhere. ואבל למכתב תחילה לידסם, you first should have said they're born, ואחר כך לא אמר ואלה תולדס יצחק. Why are you you know, I'll give you an example, something just a little, something similar a little bit. When I first came to England, I went to the, you know what's the hardest thing to get? A bank account when you come abroad. Like you gotta, when you come abroad and you start living here, the hardest thing to do is to get a bank. Bring me what's the utilities. I don't have utilities. I just landed. I'm sorry. It's a ganze avoida. Anyway, I'll go upon him once already. So we opened up a bank account, and I was sitting this with this clerk woman, and she's pregnant. She says, and she tells me Richard will be born another 2.5 months on Sunday afternoon. I said, who's Richard? The one here. He already has a name? Yeah. How do you know he's going to be born on Sunday? It's cesarean. So before the kid's born, the kid already has a name. You know, it's by us. Even if you do know, first of all, only the parents keep it a secret. It's a top knot. No one talks about. What's the gender? A name? Allah has come with that. Yeah. So anyway, I'll go upon him. That's a Maral's kasha. It's a kasha, a good kasha shot. Look what he answers. V'yesh lema. Oh. They weren't born yet already. He was 137 already. Of course he was born. He was born already in Lech Lecha. They were already born. I hear your question. It was already born. V'yesh lema, says the Maral, the cost of kach, they already had their personalities when they were fetuses. If you're going to say Toldos only once they're born, you may think that they're like regular people, that their personalities started once they're born. But these two chevre, I can't say Chava. These two, Yaakov and Esav, already in the mother's womb, already had their personalities. Oh, he says, so say it right before the pregnancy. Why are you saying it right now? Meaning after Pasuk of Aleph, it says Yitzchak Daven, maybe, and then it should have said, Eila told us Yitzchak, Lichtov Eila meaning we don't want to put any pasuk between pasuk of Aleph and pasuk of Beis. What's the pasuk of Aleph? So where can I? No, it's not pasuk of Beis. It's in pasuk of Aleph itself. Where can I put in the middle to bring out that already as fetuses they are called Toldos? Right before the pregnancy took place, but I want the pregnancy to be nismach to the tefillah. Why can't it be what? You already missed it. You already missed a little bit. They're already pregnant, and then you can say Toldos? Is maybe they only got the personalities 2-3 months in the pregnancy? You want to mamish say from the beginning. Okay. So Rabbi said just this nakuda. I don't know if we spoke about it in previous years. There's another thing here. As you see, Yitzchak was immediately answered. The miyad achar tefillah nisabra. And it's so muchvanire that we don't want to, what's the word in English? To wedge, you don't want to throw, you wedge I think that, what? No, wedge. There's something with a wedge. What? That you don't want to put something between the dvekim. Drive a wedge. You don't want to drive a wedge. Shkoyach. We don't want to drive a wedge. Right. Bidyuk. Give a look when it says Yitzchak ben Shishim Shana b'nei Desaysam. That's pasuk above. And he makes the cheshbon Rashi. Ben shishim shana, yud shonim mishenises acheneses bas yud gimel. She was too young to have children then, so 10 years went by because she was a minor. And we learn the yud shonim alalu comes the next 10 years. Tzafa v'himtim la. He's anticipating and waiting. K'moshe sa aviv l'Sarah, like his father did to Sarah. Kivan shelo nisaba yoda sheyakara v'yispal aleh. You see the you see the Rashi? So first of all, I want to stop at that before you go into it. Look at how careful Rashi is when he's writing things. Ben shishim shana, right? We're now in pasuk kavav. The last Rashi in pasuk kavav. Ben shishim shana. Yud shana mishenasach nesat v'tikim shana v'ru'elera. That's 10 years. You have to wait that she's old enough. The Yud shana malalu tzafa v'imtina k'mo shasa aviv l'Sarah. Isn't that interesting, the lesson? Or aviv l'imoy, or Avram l'Sarah. Aviv l'Sarah? Rabbi said, why does Rashi do that? It's so pushable, it's so clear. Rabbi said, let's just notice it. Why does Rashi do that? Aviv l'Sarah. Mima nafshach. Say aviv l'imoy or Avram l'Sarah. What's aviv l'Sarah? What's the point? Yuda.
I think we spoke about that it could have been anybody.
Meaning he's following Avram because it's his father. Now the fact that it's happens to me that it's his mother, that's not Nogah anymore. It could have been even if he was married to another woman. So meaning he's following the Tata because that's what the Tata, like a briskers. You follow what the Tata did. Who did the Tata do to? It's happened to me to his mother, but that's irrelevant. What would have been if she would have been at another woman and done the same? So here Rashi's not going to say Imoy. Because it's not Nogah, that's Imoy. It's so happens to me, it's Imoy. Rashi always does this. Just always. He'll say, I have about 10 Rashis like that. That he mentions the name or the yichus always according to the Inyan. It's important here to say Aviv, because to say he's following what his father did. But the fact that it so happens to be that it was his mother, that's irrelevant. If it would have been his mother, would have been someone else also in the same limud. That you wait for 10 years. So therefore Rashi is very particular. Good. You know, they say by the Briskers, right? The Meir Soloveitchik, the youngest son of the Briskerov, he was nifter. He had a dilapidated apartment. How do you say it in English? What? Yeah. And his Talmidim got together. They wanted to buy him a new one. A nice near in Yerushalayim. He said, I'm not moving. Here, my father told me where to light Hanukkah candles. I'm going to go to a new place. Who knows? I don't know. That's how he was standing. Calling me Chayav. Because here the Tata told me where to light candles. What?
Do up the old one. Do up the old one.
What do you mean?
Refurbish.
Refurbish the old one. That's. I guess it was beyond that already. I hear. No, they say that. Look, I'll tell you afterwards. When it's not recorded, I'll tell you a joke. Remind me to tell you a joke afterwards. Fine. Okay, what do we say? Look at this Rashi. 10 years he waited because it's not Nogah, she's a minor. Noch 10 years, he's waiting like his father waited. Then he sees she's a kara, he davens, and like the Maral says, he was standing like this. So just look what happens here. Lama you are ovoi sakurim, the Gwan Yavamas. Lama you are ovoi sakurim, if Nishakodesh Baruch Mesave, Litfilas Yosef Tzadikim. Now, Ovis does not include Yaakov, even though he usually does, because Yaakov was not a kur at all. The Maral points it out. Yaakov never had issues of having children. His wife did, but not him. But why? Because Misha Elu Bonim Chashav Kameis, and Yaakov was called Chaim. Yaakov was in Lumes. He never had an issue with this. So what does it mean? Others? It means Abraham and Yitzchak. Those two. And for Yitzchak, it was only one davening. So Lama you Others Sakuri B'pnei Shakodesh Baruch Hu Mes'av L'Tfilas Shel Tzadikim, and the Tfilah of Yitzchak is one Tfilah. Because we have to one Tfilah, you only will get saved. I mean, I'd get a kach. So she was 10 years barren, that Yitzchak should have in that one time. Pilat Plaim. But the point I want to erase is, Yitzchak, you only daven when you see there's a problem? That's what it says in the Mishnah. 10 years, there's nothing to speak about. For 10 years, there's something to speak about. She's a minor. Fine. The next 10 years, Sofa V'himtin. And then when 10 years went by, Kivan Shano Nisabwa, Yoda Shehi Akara, he reached the conclusion that she's barren, and he's followed her. And now he down for her. And nowadays people daven for this under the chuppah. I'm like, seriously. Now, we don't know, everything should be all right. We're not, but yeah. You only daven when Mamash, when you see she's an Akara? What? We daven once.
Made an extra effort.
But once. So it was 5 minutes, it was 10 minutes. That's what it means.
He was misfollowed the whole time.
No. Look at this Rashi. Kivan Shon is Rashi Akara, he's spot on there. Look at Lashon Rashi.
Doesn't that word imply that he was dabbling over and over again?
No. Oh, so here what do you see? That's what you have to say. It's a certain midah. The Chofetz Chaim had it a little bit also, in Bemis. The Chofetz Chaim a lot of times did not want to do Gra La Gra. I read a lot about him. You know why? I don't want to be with Triach Debershter.
What does Rashi mean in Pasuk Kafanah when he said?
Here, what do you on that, once he noticed, so he down for 2 days. That's what it means. He was immediately. So he davened longer than usual. Usually he davened half an hour. This was an hour. Because the Maral says immediately once he davened, it was already netar.
Oh, wait, we find Avram and Sarah davens?
Yeah. Come see. For sure, Rashi says a few times. But anyway, the question. So what's the Hanaga of Yitzchak? So first you just see here Hanaga. That's Midas Adin. That he does. Yitzchak says, I don't want to bother Kodesh Baruch Hu till I see there's a problem. As long as there's no problem, why should I bother him? Maybe it will be Mistader Levad. Al Pi Derech HaTeva. Once he saw, no, there's a real problem here. Okay, I'll daven, and he immediately answered. Now the Be'er Basada, it's a sefer in Rashi, Temani Rav that wrote it 200 years ago. It's a gewaltige sefer. I mentioned last week. It was printed only once. It's kedai maybe if one of you guys who have extra money, which I'm sure we all have in abundance. Noch the Chasna, I will speak noch the Chasna, to print that sefer Be'er Basada. It's such a good sefer. It's in the Yudav. It's one of the, that's true. It's one of those 11 commentaries. Yes. Nachon Binyamin. It's stuck in there. But I'll call upon him, and he also says Meferish. She's like, they want to be Matriach. Like, yeah, I'm not going to bother. Who says there's a problem? After 10 years, there's a problem. And once he davened, he was like this.
But he's davening anyway then. You do Shabbos and...
Yeah, but not in the pregnancies.
No, but just...
I'm sure he davened. Anyway, he's with Taken Mincha.
Mincha.
Yeah? But I remember that David Halperin, I kept asking the daven for a couple that didn't have to, he says, how long are they married? I said, a year. Up to 2 years, it's not called a problem. I have a Masorah for my father. Up to 2 years, it's not called a problem. That's what he said. Okay, it's 2 years. But Yitzchak waited 10 years. Okay.
Is there a link?
What?
Is there a link between that and the fact that he wasn't young?
I'm sure there is.
Because we saw the same last week Saturday as well.
That what?
I saw from somebody that the Yitzchak Bomber Boga El Acharis, he went to daven for
A shidduch.
and then straight
Immediately.
away Teres Hagmah.
It's definitely food for thought. That the meaning of Yitzchak, he davens only absolute necessary, and then maybe that's the reason, or it's somewhat connected, that Kosh Baruch is going to give him the tshuva immediately. Yeah. It's definitely something to think about. This Indian of Yitzchak, that he doesn't want to be... where else do we see that Yitzchak's like quiet? He doesn't talk. No, the Rashi makes a point. He doesn't. He knew that Yosef's alive,
Right, that's right.
right? And he sees his son suffering. And Vayefko Aviv, says Rashi there, Yitzchak also cried because he saw his son suffering so much. And he says, "I know he's alive, but I can't tell my son because if Hakadosh Baruch doesn't tell him, how can I tell him?" You remember that Rashi? What we said? Hakadosh Baruch did not ask him to say it. Rabbi say any other human being in that given situation, between 2 to 3 minutes, would start coughing. And then Yaakov would ask him, why are you coughing? "Oh, I'm just coughing. Do you know something that I don't know? You said it. You know the regular answers. Yitzchak, you know how many years you make a cheshbon he was quiet? Make a cheshbon. How old was Yaakov Avinu when Yosef was abducted, taken? Today is not a good word to use it. Kidnapped. When was it? Yosef was 17. Yaakov was 91 when Yosef was born. So Yaakov is 108 when Yosef is taken. It's Pasha. And then he met Yosef 22 years later and 130. So it started from 108 of Yaakov till 130. Right? 22 years. Yitzchak died. When did Yitzchak die? Yitzchak was 180 when he died. So how old is Yaakov Avinu when his father died? 120. Because he was 60 years when they were born. Yitzchak was 60 when they were born. So that means from the age of 108 till 120 of Yaakov, those 12 years, Yitzchak didn't say anything. What happened in 120? Yitzchak died. Yitzchak died in silence for 12 years. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't say, so I'm going to say. It's not even nice when you think about it. He's koiches nefesh, and he would have kept up being quiet. He died. Mamish. It's when you see sometimes little things of some snaps of what the others were. It's just it's beyond our. Okay. What?
Is that extra schach for this?
That's his avodah. His avodah is gvura. Good. Beseder Gomer. Now let me say. I want to ask just one more question. The Shifcha lo ratzadisa, says that Rashi. How come you didn't take a Shifcha? Rashi, the last Rashi pasuk above. The fish in Iskadish para Moria liyos oila tmima. He was sanctified in Har Moria to be a oila tmima. Right? Now let me say, there's two things that happened to Yitzchak as a result of his oila tmima. What are the two? He can't leave Eretz Yisrael, and he cannot get married to a Shifcha. That he cannot leave Eretz Yisrael, he didn't know on his own, because he was stuck planning to leave. Give a look at Perek Kavav Pasuk Aleph. Perek Kavav Pasuk Aleph. Vayira Av Ba'aretz. Milvad Aram Rishon Hashem Avraham. Vayelech Yitzchak. Vayera Pasuk Beis. Perek Kavav Pasuk Beis. Vayera Elav Hashem Yom Olav Ad Tehet Mitzrayim. Says Rashi, Shaya Daito Laredes Mitzrayim. He was planning to go to Mitzrayim. Comme Moshe Rad Obi b'Me'arav, like his father did. Omar lo al tered Mitzrayim. Shata oila tmima, ve'ein chutz la'oretz kedai lecha. You're an oila tmima, and you can't go beyond your. So could you tell me, Rabbi, how come not to marry a shifcha that he knew on his own? Rashi says v'shifcha. Now, because what tell? Doesn't say al tikach shifcha. Not to marry a shifcha, he figured out on his own. I'm a oila tmima, passage from Mira shifcha. But not to leave Eretz Yisrael, that he didn't know on his own. Adrai was planning to leave. And the Abish, they had to tell him, no, you're an oila tmima, you can't do that. In my little mind, it's the opposite. The oila tmima, there's mechitzas. So he can't leave Eretz Yisrael, it's mechutz to the mechitzas, I can understand that. But he should marry a shifcha? Lama lo. Yaakov got married to Shifcha, Avraham got married to Shifcha, so lama lo. It's a passage for oila tmima. Why are oila tmima is not allowed to get married to a Shifcha? More than Balabatish, I don't have what to say. What?
To marry a shifra is something to go, whereas to go down to Eretz Yisrael is something to ruchnius. You see, Yaakov went down to.
So this he knew, the ruchnius he didn't know.
The ruchnius, he thought that in Mitzrayim he'd be able to maintain his thing.
What's it? Avram and Yaakov, they got married to Shifchas. They lost their ruchnius.
No, but it's something for Nola Tamim, or maybe something.
So, but then he figured out on his own.
What?
Then he figured out on his own. And he shamea. I don't have cloak on that. How come this he figured out on his own? Yeah,
No, you can maintain.
But this, we're speaking by Islam. We're speaking by Islam.
You can maintain your ruchnius
So-
even in a strange, even in Golis, whereas.
So therefore, what? Therefore, he's willing to go.
That he thought I can go down to.
One second, but Yaakov got married to
Will
Sheva.
be affected by
But Yaakov got married to Sheva also. They all got married to Sheva. So what happened there? Again, Avram. Why does Oila Tmima affect this and that? Why does it affect this and not that? That's my question.
Why does Rashi
So you want to say Yisoid. Going to Chutz La'aretz won't affect me. I can keep up the level. Getting married to Shiva would affect me. Who knows? Miyamar. I don't think it affected Yaakov that he married a Shivcha. He's called Kodesh V'Torah. So, no there.
why does Rashi say he didn't want to go down to Mitzrayim? Sorry, he wanted to go down. Kamoshe Yorad
Aviv.
Why does he mention? Come on. Whereas with the Shivcha,
He-
with Abraham,
He didn't say Kamosha.
yeah, but there Sarah said take the Shivcha.
Okay.
Here, Rivka didn't say take the Shivcha, so it wouldn't be Kamoy.
Uh-huh. I hear. Meaning you're pointing out that the shivchas by the other ones is what? Is the wives were, the mistress were involved, and Rachel is the one who brought in Bilhah, and Leah is the one who brought in Zilpah, and Sarah is the one who brought in Hagar. Here Rivka did not offer it. Elamai, Rivka maybe figured out on her own that he won't want it.
And since she didn't say, he didn't want it, he figured out that it's not Kedai for him.
No, I guess Rashi doesn't say, because she didn't say, so he didn't do it. Rashi doesn't say that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but
So I guess they both understood that passage from, and therefore she didn't say and he didn't do.
yeah.
Okay, but we're still trying to figure out how come this he knew and his he didn't know.
Maybe he knew them both.
But of course, what did the Torah?
And he didn't have a choice. He needed food.
Look, you see, he managed.
To go down to
Yeah,
Mitzrayim.
that was what we told him not to.
Was the Ness? I don't know.
He wanted to go.
He wanted to go down. I don't see it's a Ness that he stayed.
He wanted to go because that's the way the Tata, that's the way the father did it. So that's what he's going to do.
Right.
His father married a Shivcha.
Yeah, but only after.
Yeah, so but Rivka did offer a Shivcha. We're still going. Rivka and Yitzchak are on the same thing here. Okay, Rabbi say, it's not clear to me this Nakuda. It's not clear to me how come this he figured out on his own, this he did, but I hear what Rav Kaduri is saying. I hear. Rabbi say, remember we discovered Rav Kaduri is on the ball. You remember? It's one of my best for them this year.
On a roll.
I think it's geweldig. Okay, Rabbi say. Okay.
But I mean, like the fact that the Torah tells us, "Vayizra Yitzchak Boretz Hahi, Chaimso B'Shana Hahi Mea Shorim, Vayvorach Hashem." So even though it was a year of, there was famine.
Yeah.
Still got
Yeah.
a much larger.
Yeah. Yitzchak again, there's been this kosher to bracha.
Yes.
We spoke about it last week already.
I wasn't here.
The bracha, he and bracha go hand in hand. You see a big wealthy man, it's called Gvil. From the word Gvura. Bemis, Midas Adin. Yeah. Bemis. Okay, Beseder Gamol, boy say. Let's go on. Fine. Right. Okay, I just want a quick chazar bas besuel mipotan al machos levan. You remember what we always said every year? You remember? Rashi changes the order. You know how many times Rashi does this, Chava? You just gotta be on your toes to always give a look. I just want to remind the Olam. And Pasuk. Okay, well, Mamash say 2 minutes. Look what Rashi does, and he always does these things. You just gotta be on your toes to notice it. Look, bas besuel mipotan al machos levan. So the order of the pasuk is what? Father, location, brother. The what? So the families are at the corners, so to speak. And what's in the middle? Location. Look how Rashi asks and answers this question. He puts the two families together. Beautiful. We want to bring out the strong character that Rivka had. L'chura, to say this idea, Rashi did not have to change the order of the pasuk. He could stick to the order and say it. But he did. The order of the pasuk is family in the corners and location in the middle. And what did Rashi do? Refers to her family. And then he says the location. But Chavi, I'm serious, you only notice these things when you learn Rashi a little bit slower. Otherwise you don't have time. I don't know if Rashi changed the order. Rabbi, so you know how many years it took me till I noticed that Rashi changed the order? I saw this Rashi at least for 20 years. I noticed he changed the order. And then just one day I was a little bit slower looking into he changed the order. For no apparent reason. He could have said this question and this answer, sticking to the order of the pasuk. But again, Rabbi said, just to go over what we said, a big yisoid. It's a big yisoid that each one's doing. And you know, Rabbi said, just to build it up, if I'm going to say Rashi's order makes sense, so what will be my problem? So how can the pasuk go according to that order? How can the pasuk went one order and Rashi went another order? And each one's doing his job. The Bichol, you hear? But you feel it? I didn't say anything yet, so there's nothing what to feel. That's the deck. I didn't say anything yet. So what's that to feel? But I'll say, the Maral does not ask this question. He does not. In fact, I haven't seen anybody ask this question. Why Rashi changed the order? But the Maral asks a different question. If a girl who's 3 years old is not mushma from her father, who's the most dominating personality in her life, you have to say that she wasn't mushma from her brothers and the neighbors? What's the chiddush? Answers the Maral that the pasuk wants to say there are three kinds of different influences that a person is exposed to. One which is called Ava, one which is called Yira, and one which is a combination of both. Rings a bell? Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Nachon? Mimele, a father represents Yira. That did not influence her. A brother represents Ava. It used to be, let's say, when I was growing up a little bit before me, brothers is like one. The Ava between brothers, it never happened that brothers didn't talk to each other. It never happened. It's like you're not talking to yourself. It's not shaykh. Right? So brothers is Ava. So the word Ach, Echad is Ava. And Mokoim, here the Maral doesn't say the Beferish. I'm taking a little bit of leap of what's a leap of what? Of faith. Mokoim, from one point of view, home sweet home. You like being home. From the other point of view, it paralyzes you. I don't want to be different. I'm not going to do it this way because no one does it this way. With teenagers, this happens the whole time. You know, it's good for you to go to that chair. Yeah, but my friends are going to make fun. So I'm not going to go. Even though it's much better for me to go there. Mokum is a combination of both. You feel very comfortable in your Chena Mokum al Yoshva, like the Gemara says. Chena Mokum al Yoshva. But it sometimes stifles you. I don't know what the word stifle means, but I think it makes sense here, right? How do you say stifle in Hebrew? What? Lachnok?
Not quite.
Yeah? I want to do a lot of things, but I can't do it because here people don't do it this way.
Suppresses you.
Suppresses. That's a good translation. And that's it. So when you go Menachem Bavel, you say Amokim Nachal Semator Shemetzim Shem V'Lo Yisasiv V'Lo Da'avoid, which makes a lot of sense. And England no one does it. So I don't want to be the only weirdo that says it, so I'm not going to say it. But that's just what everyone says it. You don't want to be different. At our age, it's melee. Teenagers? I'm serious. We had to study a little bit of psychology about teenagers. By them, this is the most important thing in the world, how their friends look at them. And all ages, friends are important, don't get me wrong. But by teenagers, it's Efesh and Hashem Atluyah. But at our age, it's not. What? Yeah, Mamash, you can't imagine. It's the most important thing in their lives. Their social acceptance. Okay, everybody say. Good. So says the Maral, that's going to be mentioning all these three. Now, once you go through that kind of malach, so how do you count 1, 2, and 3? As we said before, thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. Right? Avram, Yitzchak, and then Yaakov. So Rashi's arranging the pasuk in that way to bring out that's the message here. There's one extreme called father, which is Yira. The other extreme is a brother called Ava, and then there's a Mocha, which is a combination. So Rashi is changing the order of the pasuk to give you a subtle message that there's a message here that you should understand by me changing the order.
Why is the message here? What's it got to do with this?
We're singing the praise of Rivka, that she had a personality, that she was not influenced by different influences that exist in the world. So why did the pasuk do that? So again, I got this from the Maral Yiska. It says Rashi Yiska Zusara over there in the Gur area. The Maral over there speaks about it. The pasuk is speaking from, especially in Pshat, to the most simple level, and the Chacham will notice. Meaning, what's the pasuk doing? Introducing Rivka. That's what the pasuk is doing. And when you introduce someone, the siblings is a far third. Did anybody ever ask you when you were introduced how many siblings you have? Who are your siblings? Maybe if the conversation will go on for an hour. But when you meet someone, what's the first name? What's the first questions? What's your name? Meaning, your father? And where do you come from? Who asks about siblings? It's a far third. So of course the pasuk is going to put Lavan at the end. But that's for the simple person. The Chacham will say, why do you have to introduce Rivka again? I already know who she is. So in this second introduction, there's a hidden message, which is Rashi's job to unlock. So each one's doing his job. The pasuk is doing what a simpleton will understand. That's the pshat. We're introducing Rivka. And when you introduce a person, the siblings are a far third. Bilishum Suffolk. The Chacham, and that's Rashi's job already to deal with, will ask, we already know who she is, so why are you introducing her again? There's a hidden message here in this introduction. What is it? And Rashi will arrange it according to what he wants to say. Each one has his job description, and each one's doing his job. And again, I'll say this happens a lot. It happens a lot. Each one's doing his job. And that's what happened here also. Okay, we spoke about it, what we say. Now, a father doesn't represent also love? What would you say on that kind of kasha? You have to come to a brother to represent love? Yeah? So why do you need a brother to represent love? But do we love our parents? Yes or no? So how come a father can represent both? So if I say again, this is
two things. That's the relationship between the child and the parent. But the point is the parent's relationship.
No, we're speaking about a father to the parents, right? That's what we're speaking about. For the child, Aviv, Imai, we're speaking from Rivka's perspective. This pasuk is speaking from the child's perspective.
There's different types of love.
Fine. Okay, there's 100 types of love. I don't know.
I have one in Europe.
What?
I have one in Europe.
So a father represents, it has both, no?
Correct.
So how can we need love?
It's just an Abba without the
Okay. It's an anti-assault Abba. So, I don't know, right? So maybe there's a third or fourth Abba? Cousins? I don't know. Rabbi said, I hear. This the Baal explains, again, it's a big to know it. There's no mitzvah in the Torah to love parents. That's a fact. It does not say ba'ahavta. It doesn't say ba'ahavta zabicha v'zimecha. Why is this a gewaldige kasha? Because the Gemara says in Kiddush Daf Lamed, Hishva Kosuv. There's a comparison made between parents and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a mitzvah to respect parents, and there's a mitzvah to respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who steht? Pasuk in Mishlei. And there's a mitzvah to fear parents, and there's a mitzvah to fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Asks the Maral, the question begs itself, there's a mitzvah also to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why is there no parallel to that by parents? He asked this question at the beginning of Nesiv Avos Hashem.
It's not TV.
What?
Is it not natural?
So what? And to respect and to fear is natural? Who knows? And so what if it's not natural? Since when? The Haftal Re'acha Kamecha is natural?
You're saying it is natural. Like,
It is natural. Oh, it is natural. So what?
So we don't need to.
You know, and to respect and to fear, I guess it's not natural. Again, you're getting into dochak. To respect and to fear is not natural. To love is natural. Miyamal. Miyamal. Zok the Hele Kamaral. You remember what he answers, Chavra? So we'll go over it again. And I promise you, when you're first going to hear it, you're going to say, I don't like this. I promise, I'm telling you right now. I'm going to tell you what he says. And your first reaction will be, no. I don't want to say I disagree with the Maral, but okay. The Maral says it's not shach to command to love parents because Ava only exists between equals. What about Avos Hashem? He's going to ask it. But first, know what he says. Ava is between like a husband and wife; they're equals. Brothers are equals. They come from the same. A father is superior, and the kids are junior. Is that the opposite of superior? How do you call that? Senior and junior. A father is senior, and the kids are junior. So you want a love to be up from up down? It doesn't go like that, love. That's what he says. All right, what about Avos Hashem? I'll tell you in a minute what he says about that. Once again, but I know that I love this father. I see the way he writes about him. Not that much of him, but he does.
The Radak writes so much about his father.
Yeah, and people love their parents. Let's face it. I mean, it's not. It's a boy. I think it's fair to say that 94% love their parents. Is that a safe bet? 93? What do you say? It's a vast majority. Of course. The Ral saying, I love this. Again, always say, the Ral saying, I love this. Of course we love our parents. But if you look carefully, what's the aspect that we love about them? Which Nakuda? So I'll give you a dugma. When it says in the Pasuk, V'ahavta Misager, you're supposed to love a ger, right? V'ahavta Misager, you're supposed to love him. So I remember in our neighborhood in Harnov, Uchava Kablan, there was a ger that everybody loved him. You know why? He had the most geschmack personality you could think of. Geschmack, funny, personable, warm, Baal Chesed. Everybody, a great sense of humor. Everybody loved him because he's super geschmack. So are they making? What would you say, Richard? Are they making the mitzvah of Avos Hager through that? They love him, but not because he's a ger, but because he has a super geschmack personality. So what would you say? So the Rambam says you're not making mitzvah Avos Hager. Why? Because when the Torah said to love ger, you're supposed to love him because he's a ger, and then he came from far to join HaKadosh Baruch Hu's wings. Not join wings, at least to shelter. To shelter. But if you love him because he's a geschmack personality, and it so happens to be he's a ger, you're not mekayim the mitzvah. You have to love him because he's a ger. You hear Rabbi Yosef? If it would say to love parents, what do you have to love them? The parenthood. That's impossible, says Abraham. It's like telling an employee. Again, are there employees that love their boss? Yeah, maybe it's not that common, but yeah. I can tell you, I taught in the Mechala for 22 years, and the head of the Mechala was with Yehuda Kuperman. Many workers loved him avos nefesh, even though it was tough. They loved him avos nefesh. You know the Mechala, Yehuda Kuperman? Mamish. So what's up, shot? Did we love him? Okay, I loved with Koopman because he could fire me and I could go hungry. Is that what I love about? He's my boss. He could fire me and then I won't have an income. So that's how come we love him. No. That makes fear that he could fire you and so on. What did we love about him? It was such a Gavaldik Yid. He was. He was a Murdik Yid. Again, what I said about before about that guy, personable, caring, just they loved him. What did they love about him, though? Not the fact that he's a boss. Not the bosshood, if there's such kind of word. By the way, why can't I make up a word? Who makes up words in English? People get together and make up words? So we also can make up words. Well, because I'm Jewish, that's anti-Semitism. On Sunday, there's a demonstration against it. It's this coming Sunday, right? No, we're doing one.
Yeah, we are doing one, yeah.
A parade against anti-Semitism.
Yeah, something in town,
Yeah, what?
yeah. Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Would the Rabbanim say to go?
That I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, that would be interesting. I don't know. Anyway, I'll go up what you say. So, how do I get to this other thing? Oh, we made a point. Bosshood. So, if an employee loves his employer, it's not the boss part that he loves. That's not shaykh to love. It's because he's a person who's a very nice person to him, who's also his boss.
It's respect.
No, to love. We're speaking about love.
I'm saying it's a respect for the boss. I'm saying it's
And we're afraid of the boss. We're not speaking. Maybe also kibbut. We're speaking about yira. The fact that it can fire you and cause you anguish, that's fear. You're dependent. Dependence is fear. But you love him as a person. Well, we love our parents so much. So look at it. Why do we love our parents? The parenthood? No. Because they're the most unbelievable people that we had in our lives.
They brought you up.
They were the nicest people that we ever were. The nicest people in the world to us were our parents. What would have been if a stranger would have been as nice? We also love them. But a kid who's adopted, he also loves his parents. So it's not a din in parenthood, it's a din whoever's nice to you. Whoever's nice to you, ad belidai, without a shear, you love him. But if the Torah would have said v'ahavta savicha v'simecha, it would have meant love the parenthood part. It says, well, that's impossible to command. That the junior should love the senior because he's senior. Rabbi Yehuda, the Shemay Rabbi Yehuda. It's not shaykh. Because love doesn't work like that. Love works like this. Straight, not up down.
But your existence is. You owe your existence to your parents.
What?
You owe
Yeah, but that's not why we love them. Look and you'll see. Again, someone who's adopted, you can't say his existence comes because of his parents. And he also loves his parents. Not less. Because people that are nice to you, you love them. And there's no one in the world that was nicer to you more than your parents. That's the truth. Who else cares about you so much? Ramis. Who else can you hypothetically call at 3 o'clock in the morning? And there won't be any tightness. Who? Your mother-in-law. Vadeshallah. What'd you say? What'd you say?
No, it happened.
Yeah, okay. Makashabah. But first, I told you that my son has one. There's a teenager sometimes can't fall asleep at night, because of the hormones, whatever. I'm serious. Teenagers is a different billion. They have a nose, they have eyes, they look like regular people. I promise you, they're not. They're totally programmed differently. We all went through it, but what happens to parents usually? I notice they forgot. It's a certain kufa that. Today I had a conversation with him, someone I'm very close to. Oh, could you please tell me what you just now said? How did you build up your argument? How does A lead to B lead to C? It's not explaining it. And then when he had to explain, he got stuck. Logic is not the strong point. Okay, we all know from our children, we all know from experience, we went through it ourselves. Nachon? Why am I speaking about teenagers?
We're talking about Ahava's parents.
What?
We're talking about Ahava's
No, but how do we get to teenagers?
A story about the middle of the night.
Ah, that story. So there's a teenager who couldn't fall asleep. So he came up and told me, Rebbe, I'm not falling asleep lately. So I told him, I was not even thinking when I spoke to him. I said, really? Call me up in the middle of the night. I'll tell you about my Torah. I promise you I'll fall asleep. That's what I said. And I wasn't even thinking. I promise you I'll be saying. Lo and behold, that night, at 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings. And I see, Moshe. Where's Moshe? What at 3 o'clock in the morning? Is everything okay? So I had to run out of the room, not to wake up my wife. Moshe, everything's okay? No, Rebbe told me that if I can't fall asleep, I can call up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I remembered. I said, yeah, you're right. You're right. So please give me 3 minutes. Let me wash your dime, make Birkas HaTorah. Call me back in 3 minutes, and I'll tell you about Torah. And that's what happened. And then I told him about Torah. I promise you the most boring Torah you could think of. And I said it in a monotone voice. I fell asleep almost. For 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, he says, "I'm still up." So I said, "I'm sorry, I tried my best, Kol Tov." But Meister Shah, I gotta write down these stories, and people are gonna think it's fiction, right? They're not gonna believe me. But no, you were in it as well. I have about like 20 stories like this, that it's like the most meshugana things in the world, but it happens. Anyway, I'll go put it on my site. So coming back to so our love to our parents is not the parenthood, but there's no one else for us like our parents are. That's like so whenever Shia, his father was nifta today. She Mr. Geller was nifta today. Tony Geller. Mamash Adam Kosher. Always besimcha. It's always a makkah because parents are. There's no one else that were there in the world like for you like they were. I'm speaking if it's a normal, sensible relationship. And there can be issues. I'm not disregarding that. It can be misunderstandings. It could be tensions. Fine, like any relationship. But at the end of the day, who's there for you more than your parents? That's it. When people sit shiva, how many times I heard this conversation? How old was your parent when he or she died? 94. Oh, that's okay. The Menachem Mobile says that's fine. I'm like, okay, that's okay. It's not, you're not supposed to say that. I agree that if a person dies, it's better if he dies later than earlier. But the whole phenomenon of death is a punishment that shouldn't have existed. V'haraya will be taken away one day. So to go tell someone, "Oh, your tata's not here now," okay, 94, ze beseder. It's not clever to say it, and the babbis, it's wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't make a difference what age. Of course, preferable later. But, so anyway, I'll be saying, that's, what the Ramal says about parents. A father, as a father figure, represents fear. Hi, we love our parents, because they're people, not father. Yes, it may take a parent to have such kesher. Again, but that's a mikra, it's not be'etzem. It's not be'etzem. If you adopt a child, it will be the same thing. Hi, what about Avos Hashem? The Maharal himself asked this question. Isn't Hashem superior to us? Says the Maharal, for sure the gap between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is beyond words. But nevertheless, there's an element of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's our biggest partner in life. Hashem tzilcha al yad yaminecha. He goes with you wherever you go and he's your shade. And he brings out your potential. From that point of view, he's your most equal that exists in the world. There's an element of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, that he's a melech and he punishes and gives schar. Obviously, that is not what the Av is about. The Av is about, he's always with me. Gam ki elech begeitz hamavis lo yirara ki ato yimodi. That is the element of Avos Hashem. That's what the Mal explains. And from that point of view, there's no one else in the world who's so with you like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. And that's the aspect that we love of him. But that he could chas v'shalom punish people and put them in Gehenna? That's what you love about him? For sure not. That's what makes fair. So this push it's straight in here. I'm sorry? To a certain degree, it could be. I guess, but with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it should be Ava she'enat l'gabadava, which be, yeah, meaning you're saying the love of a child, a love of a parent to a child is enot l'gabadava.
But doesn't Rashi say b'chol meladecha b'chol midah shach HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
Moedelecha, you should be kabel.
No, it doesn't say that. It says v'or avto is Hashem elokecha.
You should love him. You should
even if it's bad,
still love him.
yeah.
But again, but it's despite the fact, even if it's bad. But to love that part is not shaykh. It's despite the fact. Even though he's moed b'cha, deep down it's probably for your good, etc., etc. So we're back to that's good.
This, the mother of the Chayelet, that she was freed by Naomi.
Yeah.
So you saw the clip of the.
Something she was
taking
mafish
the
chala. She was mafish chala the night
and
before.
she was davening, and then she said that china of the being mafish chala, like such davening, and then she went off script and she said, "Borei olam, ani meta alech." I mean, it was like it was just like it wasn't because of even so. It was just like kulai ava.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is because he's the shorish of Tov. That's what it would be. Meaning, but not that because he could punish me.
Just it was like
Yeah.
pure.
Yeah. Yeah. Wowie. You know, the other day I was learning a sugya of Tinuk Shenishba, and I started thinking, I had to hold back my tears. Now, temporarily, there's Tinuk Shenishbas. There's babies who are 3 months old. There's a baby who's a month old. We're in captivity. But like Tinuk Shenishba seems like a far-fetched...
There was a baby that was born.
Yeah, baby was born today, yeah. From the Thailand, from the Thailand person. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rabbi say. So anyway, okay, so a father represents, as a father role, fear. A brother represents Ava, even though you could also be afraid of your brother. But it so happened, again, but the Metzias of Echad is Ava. Ava's gematria, Achis is the shorish of Echad, and Ava is Echad. And you can only become Echad with someone who's your equal. You can't become Echad if it's not on an equal footing.
How does Ach get to Echad?
The word Ach is the beginning, the first 2 words of Echad. A brother, Echad.
Echad is 13, Ach was 13.
Yeah.
Ach is...
Ach is the beginning of the word Echad. Yeah. It also comes from the word Ichui, to connect if there's a Echad and Takera. It all means Chibur, to connect things. Nachon. Okay. Yeah. I really want to learn today the Maral about that Yitzchak, the Esav would ask him, Ketzad Masrin Samelach. Remember, so we have 3 minutes, so let's see what we can do in 3 minutes.
My problem is that
What?
if the Rashi beforehand says that Esau went off to Beis Avodah Zarah,
Yeah.
and Yaakov went off to the Oel Shel Torah, what's the next? How do the 2 parts of the pasuk go together?
Which one? Show me. Which person?
What's the one that Ross going to talk about? So let's let the Ross talk.
No, it says that Yitzchak. Yeah, which pasuk is that?
Kav Zayin. That's what the Ross.
Perek Kafei pasuk was Avigdalo Anarim. Vayi Esav ish yedei atzayit ish sadeh. Yaakov ish tam. Pasuk of Ches. Vayav Yitzchak et Esav kitzayit befiv. V'Rivka oheves es Yaakov.
Yeah, how's it possible these 2 together?
Which 2? Pasuk of Ches?
Yeah, if Rashi says on Vayigdulu Hanorim,
Yes.
it means their Purish,
Yeah.
and the other to the base of Medrash.
That's right.
How then do we go on to say Vayev Yitzchak Esau Tzavim? Was he unaware?
He was unaware.
Well, even though it says Kolzman Shahoyu Katan Rehoyu Nikon.
And a Damadak, now you can notice it.
Given Shanasu B'nei Shalosh Esrei Shana, Zeh Pirush Lebasim Midrashim, Zeh Pirush Avodas.
Zeh Parsha, 100%.
And what Yitzchak was not aware of it?
Yitzchak was not aware of it. I'll end up with a story. Everybody likes a story, right? Rav Hutner Zatzal used to have a chabura with the top Chevroners. This is about 45 years ago. And they were the top Bochum in Chevron. All of them today are big Rosh Hashivas. Will remain nameless. And they had a chabura. And I met one of them on a bus once, traveling from Bnei Brak to Yerushalayim. And he said to me, we were a chabura, and we heard 3 Ma'amarim from Rav Hutner. So I said, well, why only 3? What happened? Something happened after the 3rd one. What was it you saying? He spoke about why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu enable Yitzchak to see who's Esav? There was a Hestapol. It was a blind spot, I guess you could call it. That Yitzchak did not see who Esav was. What's the lumdus of that? And he gave a whole mimer on that. When the mimer was over, so the Chevrones were saying to each other on the way home, and once we see Yeshiva, Verad Kazak, so who said maybe he didn't know, but he wanted to carve him. There's all kinds of other. Yuda, Sipul. Who says? Maybe he didn't know, but they wanted to carve him. There's all kinds of shittas. As usual, before they found out about it, and we never knew how he found out about it. He always found out about everything. He found about what they said to each other when they were, who said maybe, I don't know how he found out about it. But he always found out. My father, when he grew up, he told me, he always found out the biggest secrets. How, what, we never know. Maybe Ruach HaKodesh, I don't know, he knew. So on the fourth mimer, he asked in the beginning, does anybody have any questions on the previous mimer? So he had a presence, he was scary. And especially they were young people, they were in their early 20s. They were young. And they wanted to say, yeah, but they were afraid. So everyone was quiet. He waited 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then someone said, yeah, we have a question. What is it? The Shiva had gesagt the letzte Woche that Yitzchak didn't see who Esav was. Vel sagt das. I'm sure that he did see. But he wanted to carve him and so on. Rav Huna was waiting for that. So Rav Huna said, you think I would make him such a kind of yisod like this on my own? That Yitzchak didn't see who Esav was. You think I'm going to make it up on my own? And he quoted 31 places in Chazal. Most of them were from the Zohar Kodesh. That Yitzchak did not see who Esav was. And saying, these things I would never say on my own. I have a Meferish Shemakar. And he said, the Chabur will resume after I want to meet each and every one of you individually. The Chabur said, Nein. We don't want to be meeting individually. So the Maimer is over. And it's not. So I sent over to this, and he tells me this, Rosh Hashiva. He tells me, the 3 Maimer that I heard, I could say it in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can ask me. Like that guy called me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I could know. So I said, you could have had 50 Maimer instead of 3. Isn't it chaval? So he wanted to meet you personally. What's the matter? Why is that so terrible? No, he wants to become like our Rosh Hashiva. We have our dignity. I said, it's stupid guy, but that's what I told him. It's guy v'shtutit. And you know what? If instead of saying I want to meet you personally, he would have said, I want to give each and every one of you in a private meeting £1,000. Would you come? Alba, you would come. So they said, probably you're right. These sometimes the cheshbonis of Gaiva could kill Givaldik. So the Bible stopped. And why am I saying over this story, Rabbi Gamin? Because it's in Chazal that the Ebershter did not allow Yitzchak to see who Esav was. Why? That was the whole matter. Anyway, so let's just end maybe something of Nichus on one thing that I heard that Rav Hutner said when a Hasidic Yid tells you, Be'einai ro'isi. I said it over the other day. Be'einai ro'isi means he heard from his trigger. Be'einai ro'isi means ich hab gehört from the trigger. That's what he said. Like, don't be so impressed if someone says Be'einai ro'isi. זה לא אומר עדיין כלום. Okay, Rabbi said, we should all be zoicha. It should be a good week for Amisol. Maybe close this up. I want to say a joke. It's not a